This week, I'll give you 3 questions to ask yourself every single time you take a photograph. If you get into the habit of asking yourself these 3 questions, it's a way of identifying problems in your photographs and correcting them on the fly. The questions are: is it clear? Is it exposed correctly? Do you like the composition? If you answer yes to all 3, you've got a good image. By clear, I mean, is it in focus? And is it free from motion blur? So there are 2 ways to have a fuzzy picture. One is that you miss the focus and it's a little bit blurry. The other one is, if you're shaking the camera or moving it around when you're taking the photograph and the shutter speed is quite low, you'll get motion blur. Motion blur looks like the image has almost been dragged sideways and smeared. If it's motion blur, you'll have to raise your shutter speed and adjust your ISO and aperture to suit. If it is out of focus, just get your focusing box or crosshair on the subject, refocus, and take the shot again. If it's a very static subject, get it on a tripod, put the timer on and take the shot. If the subject is sharp, move on to the next question. If you look at the image and it's brighter than what you see with the naked eye, and maybe the whites and the lighter bits of the image are all blown out so they're basically white, this means you're overexposed. If the image looks darker than with the naked eye, and the shadows look really dark and almost black, chances are that you've underexposed the image. Some of the modern cameras have a function called zebras. This basically means that all your overexposed areas have a kind of a zebra pattern on them. The way I look at it is, if the image is a little bit grey and flat, I'll bring the exposure up. And then if I see the zebras, I'll bring the exposure down. So then if it's exposed correctly, move on to the next question. Now this is where it gets really subjective. There are a lot of rules in composition which can be broken or can be stuck to rigidly. If the image looks good, there's just something about it, it normally comes down to composition. You can learn so much about bettering your photography by learning about composition. The basics of composition are the rule of thirds, leading lines, complementing colours, and shapes. These are all ways to make the image more pleasing. Now I recommend you watch a video by Eileen Rafferty on composition. It's on YouTube, it's on the B&H Photo Event Space playlist. So I've put the link in the description, so click on that after this video. She really goes into detail about composition, about the rules, about how to break them, about how great photographers in the past have used and abused these rules. And that's about it. I ask myself these 3 questions every single time I take a photo. And you can very quickly distinguish what the problem is with a photo and how to fix it. If you have any better ways of reviewing your photos, leave a comment below or drop me an email. As always, give us a thumbs up if you like what you see, give us a thumbs down if you didn't, and if you want to see weekly tutorials, hints and tips, subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next one.